Welcome to another episode of My Curious Mind podcast. I'm your host, Mr. J, where I highly encourage curiosity always. But let's get straight to it. We're going to talk about the Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James altercation, which happened a little bit over a week ago. So let's get right to it.
Let's check out some top news stories of this past week.
All right, so this happened not yesterday, which would have been Thursday. This actually happened a week from yesterday. If you didn't see it, it's all over social media. So I'm going to show a couple of clips, but if you haven't had a chance, maybe after this podcast, if you want to see the video again, you can keep watching this podcast. Because like I said, I'm going to play the clip of the interaction courtside between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James, but I do highly advise that you research the situation, learn more about it. It's an interesting dynamic that kind of happened between those two courtside. It's actually something that was probably building for years. But let's go ahead before I break down this situation. Well, let me give some backstory. So not yesterday, but a week from yesterday, which would have been Thursday, the Los Angeles Lakers were playing the New York Knicks at the Crypto.com Arena in LA. At the end of the third quarter, LeBron James walked towards the sideline, kind of off the court, and interacted with Stephen A. Smith and had an exchange of words. Doesn't appear like Stephen A. Smith was saying much. I think LeBron James was doing all the talking. And there are a couple of videos out there on the internet where I guess someone is basically, the words are typed out on the video, what they were saying. And, I'm pretty sure some people, may have been closer to the interaction, may have a video phone recording of what they were actually saying to each other. But let me go ahead and play this first video clip and I'll kind of break that one down.
Coming up to me, unexpectedly, I might add, to confront me about making sure that I mind what I say about his son. Can't repeat the words because they ain't suited for FCC airwaves. That's what he was doing. I thought long and hard about this over the last few hours because I had no intentions, Molly, of talking about this at all.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because it was a one-on-one, I wouldn't say a conversation, but it was a one-on-one confrontation. But then I wake up and everybody from ESPN and my agent and everybody else were sending me that this thing had gone viral. And so ultimately it was unavoidable, and that is why I have to discuss it now. That wasn't a basketball player confronting me. That was a parent. That was a father. And I can't sit here and be angry or feel slighted by LeBron James in any way in that regard. By all accounts, he's obviously a wonderful family man and a wonderful father who cares very, very deeply about his son. And based on some of the comments that he had heard, or shall I say, I think he thought he heard, he clearly took exception to some of the things that he heard me say. And he confronted me about it. For the record, his agent and friend, Rich Paul, has my number. Maverick Carter, who works under him, has my number. LeBron James knows how to get in contact with me if he wanted to. He never called, because had he called and wanted to talk to me, I would have accepted that call.
All right, so let's I'm going to unpack that video when Stephen A. Smith was on his show First Take on ESPN, basically giving his rebuttal or his response to what occurred the previous day, which had been on Thursday. But the video of Stephen A. Smith on First Take was recorded the following day on Friday. So basically what Stephen A. Smith was alluding to was how LeBron James approached him courtside. One of the things that he mentioned right away, that LeBron James came to him as a father. he understood that. He felt some compassion about that. I honestly think LeBron James engaging Stephen A. Smith in that situation caught Stephen A. Smith, um, caught him off guard. I didn't think in a million years he thought LeBron James would ever walk up to him courtside. Uh, basically, well, the game was still going on. It was at the end of third quarter in the midst of all of those people. I don't think he ever thought that would happen. But one of the things I respected Stephen A. Smith for at that moment was he accepted that LeBron James, not the player, but the father, was coming up to him, giving him some verbal criticism of what he was saying on TV. But before I give my take of what Stephen A. Smith said, to give some context for those who have not heard what Stephen A. Smith said, I'd like to play the video for you right now so you can have some context of why LeBron James may have been upset. Then I'll kind of tie to the altercation or the interaction at the game and the video and why LeBron James may have been upset. Let me play this video clip for you.
Honest about Bronny James and Bronny James playing. So let's take a listen to one of Stephen A's last takes on Bronny James.
I am pleading with LeBron James as a father. Stop this. We all know that Bronny James is in the NBA because of his dad. We love what we're seeing from him in the G League because that's where you belong. As you hone your skills and you get better and you legitimately earn, which I believe he has the potential to do, I am rooting for Bronny James. But right now, Bronny James is averaging 0.3 points, 0.3 assists, and 0.4 rebounds. How are you doing him favors? We know that he's not ready yet.
What did he say wrong? Nothing there was disrespectful. It was honest. You may not like to hear that if you're LeBron James, but it was not disrespectful in any way, shape, or form. And I understand, that's your son, LeBron, but Bronny James is also an NBA player.
Right.
So he's going to get the same critique as other NBA players do.
Maybe it was something else because that wasn't disrespectful at all. He came with facts. Like, that wasn't disrespectful. Is there something else that we missed? Because that wasn't disrespectful.
I can understand LeBron not liking it.
It's the truth, though.
I don't care if it's the truth.
But
It's the truth. Like,
I'm just saying.
All right, so that show that was playing the clip of Stephen A. Smith's audio of the comment that LeBron James was upset about was Breakfast Club. Excellent show. I've watched it a million times. I actually think they normally are spot on with some of their comments and their critiques on that particular show. I think they kind of miss the entire conversation. And it's a multi-layered situation. You have the criticism that Stephen A. Smith made. You have the tone of what he was saying and who the criticism was going to, and you had the reaction of the person receiving the criticism. Now, let me unpack this entire thing. Now, on one hand, Stephen A. Smith is within his professional right and his personal right of giving a critique of Bronny James. I have no problem with that. That's essentially what Stephen A. Smith is paid to do. He's a sports media personality, a writer, podcast host. I would also argue that Stephen A. Smith is essentially an entertainer, because people watch him that really enjoy him, and I think people watch him that may not enjoy him just to watch him do something they find strange or unusual or inappropriate. So they can go on social media and comment about him. So based on that, he's an entertainer. Whether you view him as that or not, I think he's an entertainer. But you have the comment that Stephen A. Smith made. So let me give some backstory on that particular comment. So there was a game about a month and a half ago. The Los Angeles Lakers were playing the Philadelphia 76ers in Philadelphia. I believe the Lakers, this is before the Luka trade. The Lakers were kind of playing up and down. They were on a road trip playing 3 or 4 games. The Lakers didn't play really well that particular game. I think the 76ers won. The Lakers did what NBA teams do, college teams do, high school teams do, middle school teams do. At the end of the game, when you're losing, you take the starters out and you clear the bench. So they cleared the bench. Bronny James got in. He played 5-6 minutes. I mean, he looked a little shaky, a little nervous, a little uneasy, had some turnovers, had some plays that where he didn't appear to be the most confident, which is normal. He's a rookie. He was a late second round pick. He's still getting his NBA skills up to par. You know, it's a lot to ask for a kid in that situation to perform at a high level. Even if he was a first round pick, they sometimes struggle in that particular situation. But after the game, I don't know if it was after the game or that next day or that following that Monday, Stephen A. Smith gave those initial comments that you heard on you heard that audio on the Breakfast Club. Stephen A. Smith basically went on air and gave that audio or gave that take on Bronny James. Now, if you go back and you listen to his comments, his critique wasn't at Bronny James because he had every right to critique Bronny James. Stephen A. Smith chose that moment to, in my opinion, he kind of crossed that fine line. He crossed that line of, instead of critiquing Bronny, he critiqued LeBron James. I don't really understand why he ultimately chose to critique LeBron James. But if you go back and look at the clip, he's saying statements like, "I'm pleading with you as a father, stop this madness." You know he doesn't belong. He doesn't, basically, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, he doesn't look like he belongs in the NBA. You have to stop pretending. Do something about it. Stephen A. Smith was basically calling out LeBron James as a father, basically saying that he's less of a father. He's less of a basketball player. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And I think that was the ultimate trigger that triggered LeBron James to give that reaction almost a week ago. So you fast forward it to the Lakers game a little over a week ago, and I believe LeBron James, that emotion had been building and building and building up to the point where, hold on a second here, I gotta adjust my lighting here. I think I can. All right, there we go. I got some lights now. All right, so it had been building up and building up to the point where, on almost like a little over a week ago, LeBron James felt the need to confront Stephen A. Smith about what he had said. I personally probably would have done the same thing. I'll give you an example. Let's say, and I'll use myself as the example. I have a daughter who's 12 years old. She's gotten into club volleyball. She really likes it. I think she has really good upside as a volleyball player. She has a strong serve. She's really strong for her age. She has that raw power, but she needs to kind of refine some of her techniques and her skills. So I got her involved in club volleyball. So let's say, for this example, let's say the coach comes to me and says, "Hey, Mr. Johnson, your daughter isn't really a good volleyball player. She's struggling. She can't keep up. She's moving too slow. She's really not ready. She really needs to work on her game. We suggest you maybe do these things, put her in this program, or sign up for this camp, and it's just not really working for us. Now, as a father, I would feel a little heartbroken, a little sad, but realistically, that coach gave me a fair assessment. I may not agree with it, I may not like it, but they're just giving me their honest, direct opinion. I more than likely can accept that. But let's say, on the other hand, what if the coach came up to me and said, "Hey, Mr. Johnson, you're doing a horrible job as a father. I don't know why you wasted your time signing your daughter up for volleyball. She's really not good. You're not doing a good job at home. Something mustn't be right. If you decided to put her out here on the court, you must be confused. I'm really questioning you as a parent. What are you doing? You need to really rethink what you're doing and your goals and the things that you want in life." Now, if the coach comes to me and says that, I'm going to have some choice words for that coach. I don't care whether it's a man or a woman. I will have some choice words, because it's one thing to give a fair critique or criticism of my child's play, but now you're questioning me as an adult and as a parent, my love for my child and how I parent. And I ultimately think, just like an example I gave, that's what triggered LeBron James. And like I said earlier, it had been building. And I don't know if he necessarily had a plan that he was going to engage Stephen A. Smith like that. I also don't believe that Stephen A. Smith thought LeBron James would ever come at him like that. So there were two events that was happening on that particular night that I don't think anybody, either of the parties involved, really thought would ever happen. But with that being said, I think we all learned something from the particular situation, is that in this social media atmosphere, and hold on, I gotta my light keep going off on my camera here. Let me see if I can. All right. All right, so that means I got to hurry up and finish this tape. All right, so the take that I have from this is that in this high social media atmosphere, the light just keep going off. Ain't nothing I can do about that. In this high social media atmosphere, we're going to have a lot more situations like this occur. I'm shocked that more of these haven't occurred. And there are other social media sports commentators, podcasters out there who have a lot of hot takes. And sometimes they kind of cross that line where it becomes personal and threatening to the players. Stephen A. Smith is a very big person in the sports world. And I would argue, like I said earlier, he's a very big person in the entertainment world. I hope moving forward that maybe when cooler heads prevail, that Stephen A. Smith can have some self-reflection and say, you know what, whether I ultimately agree with LeBron James, I can accept or understand why he may have felt that way. LeBron James could have some self-reflection and say, hey, I could have handled it a different way. I could have waited to talk to him one-on-one, somewhere in private, and come to a better understanding. Because you have LeBron James, who's a very powerful person in basketball and in the social media world. And you also have Stephen A. Smith, who's a very powerful person in sports and in entertainment. So moving forward, I hope that behind the scenes that cooler heads can prevail. And I hope Stephen A. Smith maybe could understand, and LeBron James could have an understanding of maybe next time he could engage Stephen A. Smith in a different manner. So I'll be interested to hear what you think. So make sure you put something in the comments, like and subscribe this video, and please share with someone so we can get those subscribers up and I can continue. Well, I'm going to continue to produce more content. But until next time, peace and take it easy.